Senator Tafida was elected senator for the Kaduna North constituency of Kaduna State at the start of the Nigerian Fourth Republic, running on the People's Democratic Party platform. As a senator of the Federal Republic, he took office on 29 May 1999 and was re-elected for a further 4-year term in 2003. He served as a former Nigerian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and one-time Minister of Health. Excuse me. He was a personal physician to President Shagari from 1980 to 1983. He joins me now in the studios, and very warm welcome to you, Your Excellency, and former distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you, Christian, and Happy New Year to you, to the viewers, and everybody in the world.
Happy New Year indeed to you, very distinguished Senator. Let's start with your former principal, who passed on just a few days ago, late President Shagari. You were his personal physician. How would you describe it?
I think people like President Shagari, known as Turaki Sokoto, are rare. People like him are rare in Nigeria today. First of all, he did not know me, and I only knew him from a distance. When he requested then Secretary to Government of the Federation to come and look for me and ask me whether I wanted to be his physician. He took me from Kaduna. I was then a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health. Took me to Lagos. He took me direct to the president. He looked at me, he said, "What is your name?" I said, "Dalhatu Tafida." "From where are you?" I said, "From Zaria." He said, "Do you want to work with me as my physician?" I said, "Of course, Mr. President. It's an honor to work for Mr. President because I think it's a national task. It's a task based on trust, and I will do my best." Then he said, "But you know, one of my wives is from Zaria. Do you know her?" I said, "Okay, I know her." He said, "Then I will be in trouble. I have a doctor from Zaria, a wife from Zaria. You just be controlling me the way you want." I said, "No, not at all. I know, Mr. President." That's how it started. And I was reluctantly released from Kaduna to go and work in Lagos as the chief physician to the president. And Shagari has remained to me as his doctor. I was almost idle. I had to look for other jobs to do. I had to be looking after all the staff in the State House and even ministries, various ministries at the Federation, those that I know and who could come to the clinic. Because Shagari didn't need me actually most of the time. The only time I knew Shagari was sick was during Hajj. We went on Hajj, I think in 1981 or 1981. He was sick, badly sick. He had a chest infection. I had to put him in bed rest and try to treat him as best as I could, and he was better. And we performed our Hajj very well. Otherwise, he remained a very healthy man. Then the only time when Shagari complained of his ill health is when he was on detention.
By the military then?
By the military in 1985. 1985. Early 85. Yeah, I was sent for in Kaduna. I was a commissioner in Kaduna State at that time. I came to Lagos. The fellow who called me was the Director General SSS at that time, late Rafendadi. When he called me, he said
NSO then. They were known as Nigerian Security Organization.
Exactly.
Yeah. Today is SSS.
SSS. When he called me, he said, we need you here. I said, I hope you need me. Do I need to come ready or how? Am I coming back or should I come with a box or something, some other thing that I need my drugs? He said, no, you are going to see Mr. former president. Now, I went there, they took me to Mr. President. We hugged each other. I cried because I had not seen him since he was taken away.
It was Captain Communicando.
Totally so. And we discussed, he said he had problem with his eyes, his sight, and so on. Crudely, I examined his eyes. I realized he had an early cataract in both eyes. And I reported to the military, the government. Somehow it didn't happen. That he wasn't taken abroad for treatment until again during Babangida's time. And when he went, he had an operation in one eye.
In Nigeria?
No, in Germany. We went to Germany together. Then the following year went back, and he remained perfectly all right as far as sight is concerned. And that's all. He was just using glasses, nothing more, up to his death.
3 years that you were his personal physician, what kind of advice did you give him, and what were some of his health programs? Because that was when we're hearing so much about rural and cottage hospitals being developed and propagating the development of the primary health centers too, or health care.
Well, actually, I worked with him for 4 years, not 3.
Okay.
It was 80 to the end of 83. We discuss some things, even other political issues. Of course, I never called myself a politician. I was a civil servant, just a palmsec, coming to work for him. But slowly but surely, I learned to speak
the language of the politician.
Yes, slowly but surely.
Okay. Now let's talk about the language of the Nigerian politician yesterday, today.
Yes.
The people, Nigerian voters, are saying that those campaigning for offices are not bringing issue-based discussions on how to lift, their lives. What do you think is wrong here?
Well, even the setup, the political setup, the politics itself has been deteriorating. The way we conduct ourselves, we politicians, and the politics itself is not as it used to be. I became a senator in 1999. I didn't have money, not much. I didn't think I spent more than 10 million to become a senator in one of the largest constituencies in Nigeria.
That's so much money at that time.
Yeah, but I didn't spend as much as that. But people who are spending, now you hear even a billion for a senator. I can't imagine how, 10 million at most. And everything is money now. If you have money, you can become a politician the next day. If you have touts around you, they think you have money, you must become a politician. Otherwise, that money of yours is of no use to them. That's why you find many big guns, financial gurus are in politics nowadays. But I didn't have money. Even when I came back again, I didn't have much money. As we know, in the Senate in 1999, we were just on a salary of 14,500 per month. And that was what the president put us on. We argued, but we remained like that for 12 months. And that's how it was. There was nothing, no additive, nothing.
But you had all the constituency allowance.
I said
and
there was
other,
nothing.
other
I said there was nothing.
I remember the senators were paid furniture allowance of about 5 million.
That was maybe 2 years after, but not the first year, second year, no. And that's how the thing. But slowly.
So what you're saying is that today's politics is money-based.
Money-based, nothing else.
Isn't that very dangerous for Nigeria?
Very dangerous. Very dangerous. For INEC to say they are limiting this and this thing is just theory and impossible.
You don't think it's
I don't
workable?
think it will work. It will not work.
So the issue of vote buying will continue?
Well, I don't know. If they want to control that.
You were Director General to ex-President Jonathan's campaign. And
I didn't give anybody money. I was the Director General. I could run my office. I did not send anybody to buy a single vote for me. To God who made me.
So how could you have run that election without
Well, we had money, obviously. Naturally, to move from one place to another, to sleep in a hotel, you must have money. That money was for that. And nothing else. Not for buying votes. Of course, when we visit people, politicians, and traditional rulers and so on, we'll drop something, a small envelope.
You give them money?
We do, but not
for what? For what purpose?
Yes, just to appreciate, to seek for support. As you know, a politician will always look for support.
Don't you think that's the beginning of the root cause of money politics we're having in Nigeria?
When you say you drop $1,000,
there's a lot of money.
Well, it wasn't at that time. It was just 1,000 was just 150.
When you look at the minimum wage at that time and up to now at 18,000 naira, and you're dropping as much as $1,000 or $100,000 or $1 million.
It's just courtesy, and you do that whether you are there on campaign or not.
Why don't we see such in other climes?
Well, again,
you've been Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. And you've seen high elections. Do they play money politics there too?
It would be stupid of me to compare Nigeria of today and UK of today. UK is almost 1,000 years old as an independent country. We're just, how many years old? You can see we're just growing. We will make it, but I think something has to be done. We must have a system whereby money is controlled, even the salaries of the big guns, right from the president to ministers, and partly the National Assembly members. It has to be controlled.
You think they are all overpaid?
More than overpaid. If you compare the 30,000 we are struggling to get from the governors. 30,000 to me is possible, and people should not argue against that one. 30,000, if only we can cut off bits and pieces here and there. When I was coming, the gentleman who was bringing me here said, you look so simple, you are sitting in front the car with the seat belt and so on. is it because you are in the UK? I said, I've always been like this. You can see the Queen, the most important person in UK and even in the Commonwealth, going about with 2 cars, just 2 cars.
Even the Prime Minister walking from 10 Downing Street to
And
Parliament.
he sits in front and with 1 car. And in most of the ministers, or some drive themselves, the ministers and members of
And they
Parliament.
take public transport.
They take public
So
transport.
why are we so ostentatious in our own
Well,
orientation? Where is
not
it coming from?
No, the problem is that we need to provide so many other basic infrastructures for people to survive. For instance, transportation must be certain to pick transport from this place to this place, anywhere you are, only in the federal capital and many other capitals. When we get that, and then, of course, we also have to be sure that we are not working to make money. Many people go to the National Assembly to make money, and they spend a lot of money to be there. If you just want to serve, and get just enough to survive, to live, run your family, you don't need all that
During
money.
your time, was there budget padding too?
Well, not that I know of. I didn't know of any budget padding, but we did our best, as you know, at that time. And budget padding, again, is something that, from the way I understand it, must have arisen between the committee responsible for appropriation in the Senate and the House, and some ministries or other agencies of government that want a lot more than what the executive proposed. That is budget padding, and it tends to happen.
Isn't it supposed to be simple lobbying, as is known in democracy?
Lobby, if you talk of lobby in this country, they think that's corruption. They think you need money. I know President Obasanjo abused us at times all over, not only with the media in this country, but outside, that we are looking for money from him. We just wanted him to talk to us. But you know, Obasanjo changed. He changed, really.
You were the Senate leader then.
Yeah, he changed during his second term. He was very friendly. He would come for breakfast to the National Assembly, to the Senate President, and we meet him. We'll have tea together, and he will go back to his office. I don't see. I hope this will happen again, and sincerely so.
Okay, let's look at the issue of the non-signing of the amended Electoral Act, or rather Bill 2018. How do you see the executive turning it down? I think that's about the second, third, or fourth.
Well, whatever the time, I think the fault mostly lies with the Parliament, with the
National
Assembly. You know why? If they had known that the limitation as to any legislation that will affect election, general election, and that it will be time barred, they should have done that much earlier. But they are somehow involved in so many quarrels, unnecessary quarrels, political and so on. Maybe, again, another reason why there was that problem was because the presiding officers were not of the same party as the executive, the president. So naturally the president will suspect anything that is coming before him. We read it maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times before he assent to it. That's the reason. But I think major fault to me lies with the legislature, because they should have known this. Finally, what is actually bothering me is the way we are going to lose the opportunity to clean our electoral system, our project.
To deepen democracy
deeper,
too. And,
in the sense that this, what do you call it, this
card reader.
card reader, in the new law, the proposed bill was going to be there officially, but it affected everybody in the last election. I thought it would have been the first to be done. You don't need to have so many, everything encompassing on a bill before you send it to the president. But you wanted to get everything.
They had more than 3 years to have done that.
Yeah?
I said they had over 3 years to have done that. From
more than 3 years. And I thought to me, it's partially their fault. Of course, the president himself should have indicated, I will not sign this because this new system of transmitting election result by this is alien to us. We need time to try it in some other elections and so on before we try it on a general scale. But please make sure to bring back this card reader issue. I will assent to it immediately. Something like that. But to me, we're missing an opportunity.
And well, INEC has said that card reader or no card reader transmitting, or rather, transmitting the results from the polling unit and to a collection center, that they are not going to be deterred in conducting these elections.
Well, it's okay. No, of course, they will not be their responsibility. Constitution, they must do it. They must also tell us that they will do it well, and they must do it well.
What are your fears for the 2019 general elections, particularly when you look at the myriad of political parties, some of the contestants and the rest? Do they really have any hope? It's just like a two-party system.
No, my fear is violence. My fear is violence.
The military has launched Operation Python Dance 3 to checkmate.
Well, I don't know whether it's Python Dance or whichever dance.
Or Crocodile Smile.
Or whatever the important, they're working with Nigerian and Nigerian politicians. They will always go for whatever they want to get. We just keep praying that we get it right. The politicians, like the President Buhari said, it shouldn't be taken like a do or die affair. Somehow I sympathize with President Buhari.
Why?
Because he, even though he went to court 3 times, I think he was patient enough to try. I wouldn't try election. Who will give me the money to try election, a national election, presidential election 3 times? I don't think I would.
He never had money. People supported him.
So he's the popular man. I am not. I'm a very poor man.
Well, Dr. Tafida, you're a former Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. So it will be difficult for the ordinary Nigerian to believe that you are a poor man, having served in the Senate from 1999 to 2003, 2000 and then becoming the campaign DG of ex-President Goodluck Jonathan.
You see, my main the way I approach life is that money is not important to me. I only need money to survive, to have accommodation, that's house, and to run my family. That's all. I don't want to have millions or billions of naira being kept somewhere. When I was a DG, if I wanted to make money, I would have. When I was in the of course, the National Assembly, I collected the allowances. I never rejected any allowance given to me, but I never went to any minister or ministry to look for anything. I just stayed in my office. Of course, my committee, my first committee or rules, you don't have any contact with any ministry. And I stayed there, I specialized on that for 4 years, and even the following year, to the extent that people who are not interested in that, I was forced as a Senate leader to also run the
Rules
committee.
and Business
Yes.
Committee.
So that's the thing. Everybody has his own inclination. Money is not my major problem. I need money, but not much.
Not in that
Not at
quantum
all.
of billions.
Not
and
at
people
all.
even,
That's crazy. That's madness.
I was going to draw your attention again to the current politicians in the country. You've talked about the issue of money being sine qua non for them to win election or even come out for elections. But how would you compare the politicians of your maybe first and second republics to this republic?
Totally different. You are in the first and even second republic. You didn't need to have money. Your the party, once the party stands by you and they nominate you, you are already a candidate. They also campaign for you. You didn't need to have money.
But you had businessmen supporting the party who,
Well,
at the end of the day,
that
are favored with contracts.
That's what happens everywhere in the world. Even in the States, United States, it happens. But I'm talking of the politics, those who practice the politics, the art of politics, don't need to have money. That's my
The goodwill of the people.
Yeah, that was then, but now, good God, you even first of all you need to have some money to have a godfather. You can't say that there is one very popular person in politics today if he doesn't use money. You
Or
must
does he
use
have
money.
a godfather?
Or he doesn't have a godfather. Well, I used to think, of course, Buhari, when he first, second, third, he didn't have money. He contested and he did well, though he didn't win. I'm sure he had what you call friends or godfathers, if you like to call them, who are helping him. But nowadays, as a president, I don't think nobody will help him. Nobody will give him kobo because he's sitting on the money.
But 12 million, well, okay, let me put you on pause there. Distinguished Senator Dalhatu Tafida. We want to take a short break, and when we return, would, look more about the politics of today, the forthcoming presidential elections, which is just next month here. You're watching Nigeria, the road to 2019. Plenty more still ahead. Stay with us. You're welcome back to Nigeria, the road to 2019. I am Christian Nogodo. Thanks for staying with us. I still have in the studio with me Dr. Dalhatu Tafida. I'm sure it's a long time those who know you as a medical doctor called you such.
Well, they called me doctor, medical doctor. Even when I went to UK, they said, what name should they use? They don't want senator. They prefer
You're
Because
professional.
yeah, I am an ambassador since I am in UK as the High Commissioner. But they want something additional. I said, doctor. And they, all correspondences, they
It's
have
been
a
with
doctor,
doctor. Okay.
ambassador, doctor,
So,
Dalhatu
so I think I'm on the right track then.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Tafida, let's look at Nigeria's health sector, where you're a key professional. Look at the budgetary provisions, and yet, we don't seem, Nigerians don't seem to be having the best. You still have medical tourism. Even when this administration came on board, before they came on board, they had said that that would be a thing of the past.
Well, it's always the same story. They talk of,
From one government to the
yeah,
other.
they always say the same thing. I remember President Buhari in 19, is it 18, I don't know, when he took over.
83, he took over in
83.
1983 to 85.
He spoke of our clinics,
Being mere
mere
consulting.
consulting clinic.
And you
so
were
on.
in practice then. Was that
No,
the case then?
No, I was a physician. General Buhari met me as a physician to President Shagari in
Yeah.
Dodam Barrack.
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't mind to work with me, but I opted to go out.
He wanted you to continue as his personal
So-
physician.
but I left. But he.
Was it based on ideology that
No,
you couldn't serve the military?
I thought the military, everybody would think I was a politician. All the ministers, politicians that were ousted, I looked at me as one of them, and for me to see myself also flirting with
the military.
the
Those
military.
who sacked them.
So I just said, Mr. Excellency, I told President Buhari, please, if I can get another job. And he got a job for me in Kaduna, in my state. I was taken, selected, or appointed as a commissioner. I was there for health, but somehow there was a problem in agriculture. They said they must take me to agriculture. I was there in agriculture for some 2-3 years. We put things right because we were trying to be ready for World Bank agri project, and I was there. And then from there, I was sent to education, the commissioner. So these are my surgeons. But the problem of health, let me tell you, it is not so much the money. I hear people talk of percentage, that you need some, is it 20% or 16% or whatever percent. It's not the amount of money, the quantum. It's not even the amount of money released out of the budget. It's the utilization of the money.
For capital projects.
Whatever, capital or recurrent. Capital project, of course, contract will be awarded for building clinics and so on all over. And we have many clinics in this country, many not operation.
Isn't that why the NHIS, was created? And I think it was during your time in the National Assembly
but you see, it's not even, it's not their responsibility to run health clinics. It is their responsibility to make sure that everybody is financed to get good health care.
Yeah.
Either from private practitioners or from government hospitals. But usually from private, a lot of corruption there too also. But I'm talking of when you have money, a lot of money, unusually much, whether recurrent or capital, you build clinics, hospitals, and so on, all over. You don't have the people to run for them. And even when you build, it's a lot of money to buy equipment to also
equip the hospitals
or the health centers and so on. And when you do that, There's also the problem of also filtering, taking some of these things away by
That's
the
corruption.
workers. A lot. It's not only a politician that is corrupt. Let me tell you, civil servants are corrupt.
With your experience in the service.
Definitely. I know that one for certain. Everybody knows that one. So if you release all that money, you buy all these things, give them 3-4 years. Most of those pieces of equipment will not be there. Either they say they are broken or somebody, they don't know where they are. Ordinary thermometer thing for taking temperature, they tell you is broken. And you can have thousands of that in a hospital, but it's not there. So how do you talk of money? It's not the money. You should have proper people that are determined to provide the health care. It's not the money. It's not the money.
So do you think this present administration, particularly with its, avowed commitment to fighting corruption, they're doing it very well? They are winning the war against corruption?
Well,
the president has...
you see, one of my weaknesses, my weaknesses for this government is the fact that they are fighting corruption. I don't know whether they are fighting correctly or not. I don't know. All that I know, people are being arrested. They are being asked to account for what they took. That's all I know. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to even be close to a thief in public service. It is terrible. You must think that that money you are stealing is for you and me and for others. And the better you make use of it, the better for everybody. But somehow people, even in my own area, they think if you take that money from public, it's not theft, you don't have any sin, because nobody owns the money. We own that money. It is our money, and people must not steal it. That's the one soft spot I have for this government, that they should fight. It should be much more encompassing, of course. But you see, when you are fighting a war, initially your soldiers will hit those radicals they see near you. It's not everybody that you start, but maybe when you are settled, then you start looking around and so on, even below the ground, to dig for the other thieves. But I think maybe the president will do that. I don't know. Though he has very little time left now for this term.
And your party, the PDP, seems is ever at the receiving end of this corruption war and fight.
Well, that is only natural. A party that ran the government for 16 years, they are more likely to steal the public funds than those that were just onlookers. I hope you understand me.
Very well.
The opposition then, as APC, ANPP, or whatever you call them, they were there, but they are not in government. Which money have they seen which that they would steal? Of course, there were others who were in PDP who ran.
Some had control of states. Their parties had control of states.
I'm sure they will get to them. They will get to them. I think so, if they continue.
Now, tell me the chances of your presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. You are a chieftain of the PDP.
No, I'm not in PDP, I'm not in APC. I thought I have done enough for my country.
Did you resign formally from the PDP?
Of course, more than 3 years ago, as soon as I came back from UK, I resign. I said so. It was in the press. Maybe you don't relate with local press, but I resigned. I left, and I'm not in any
So
other
your
party.
sympathy is where?
No, I'm looking. I'm for a performer. I'm sympathizing with a performer.
Look at the young Turks that are presidential candidates in the party.
Well, you know, this issue of youth and so on, you have been.
And even a woman is
Look, all
really...
these things they are in, what do you call it, Abe, Ekwesile, and
Yeah,
so on.
Obi.
Yeah, you know, they are quite all right. Everybody will talk highfalutin English. Running a government, probably a federal government of Nigeria, is not the same as speaking English.
What's the difference? Because
Totally.
in other parts of the world, look at Trudeau, for example, the Canadian Prime Minister.
Yes.
When Gowon was head of state, as a little boy,
I
he was...
didn't say, I'm not disqualifying young people. Listen
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I did not disqualify young people or women. I said they need to have experience. They need to be able to also control, to be able to control the government. It is when you are there, you are just there.
How do you acquire experience when you're not given a chance?
You acquire experience bit by bit.
Yes, some of these people are technocrats.
Yes, so they should be tested.
Yeah, they've had experience in
If
their proven professions.
If they win
Yeah.
and they perform better, I will be happy for it. I'll be happy for it. I expect then they should be better. But you see, sometimes...
What are your other fears, about, the young presidential candidates and even governorship candidates that are coming?
I don't want to be too explosive because I think most Nigerians are potential thieves. When they find themselves in office, they steal. If they don't steal, they will be made to steal. If they are not made to steal, their own cronies will steal. There is nothing, will you be fighting this thing? It's not easy. Nigeria is a country where you must have money to even be looked at. That is what it is. So whoever comes, a young man is a hungry man, he will come, he would want to have his own, he will have his own cake, bit of cake. So I don't know, we just keep praying for our country so that we get people who will do better.
I think the issue that I want you to address again, is it because of lack of party ideologies that was seen,
Well,
myriads of contestants?
it could be parties here in Nigeria are not strong. There isn't anything like party loyalty or supremacy of the party. For instance, when I was in the Senate, the first thing, before we resume, PDP as a party wanted one person to be elected, including, of course, the president then. Now, but majority of the members of the ruling party did not want that person. They wanted another person. For instance, to be more frank, it was
late Chuba Kadigbo.
late
Ewerem.
and Chuba.
Chuba
was the candidate, was the majority of PDP senators were for him,
Yeah.
whereas the government and the party was for Ewerem. And of course Ewerem won because the then president was fully for it. He fought for it I got through. But then afterwards, of course...
About 6 months later.
No, not 6, about 8 months.
8 months, yeah.
Yeah,
thereabouts.
he lost. Of course, he's late now. I wouldn't. He was a bit careless. Chuba came into. He too, about that number of months, he lost again because people around him made him to do very badly, and he was overthrown by the same people. And then after that, another one came in as Pius Ayim. And he was very careful. So he stayed there. He was to the dictates of the senators, and even when the president wanted him removed, they couldn't remove him. That's the way to go about it. And when we came the second time, we put a Senate president. He misbehaved. We removed him. And then we put another one of our two. That first one was government selection. The second one was our own.
Namani.
Yes, and he remained there till the end.
Yeah.
Very clever. He was with everybody, not corrupt, not looking for extra money outside the National Assembly. That's the way to run yourself. As
Leadership.
Yes. Don't look for too much money. Just stay within the limits of what resources are available for you.
But with the length and breadth of this country now, for the young contestants in next month's general elections, we're not saying next year again, it will be a hell of a time for them to even raise monies to go to campaign rallies and the rest.
A young man to contest for the president, a bit difficult. Start with House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate.
Or local government council.
All these things, when you do that, you have an idea of what is expected, and the problem of people coming to get money from you, trying to make you corrupt. Once you understand that aspect, and you know how to tackle them or protect yourself from all these people, then you can look for bigger office. Even the young people who became something like a prime minister or something, sometimes they must have done something big before. Even Macron in France is a young man, but he held something before and he did very well. But our problem is money. Money, everybody wants money. Let me give you an example, though it's not part of this thing. When I was appointed a minister, because we wouldn't know our portfolio before we were sworn in. Many people say, we want you to go to petroleum. I said, I have come from near the desert. Why should you want me to go to petroleum? You don't
in the Niger Delta.
Yeah, in the Niger Delta. What, don't you think my profession is good for me? I'm a medical doctor. I should go to health. They say, no, we want you to go
There's
where
no
you will
money
get
there.
money. Yeah, isn't much money there. It's all sick people and so on. I say, but I prefer that. When I talk, I'm talking with some common sense. And so you can see. You can also see from the example you see all over, the number of people that disturbed a minister in petroleum or in agriculture are not the same as those that disturb a minister in labor. Yeah, this is the thing, nothing but problem there. So the people are those that are corrupting people, public officials. And we have a long way to go. If you are too good, you want to stop that one, people will call you a tyrant. You are not even a politician. When you are a politician, you are supposed to open your doors and even windows for people to come in, and even sleep with your wife if for you not to say anything, to show that you are progressive, you are a politician. That's Nigerian politics.
That's a do or die politics.
Yes.
Is that what we should be practicing in 21st
Not
century
at all,
world?
not at all, not at all. I'm talking like this because this is what I saw, this is what I learned. I tried to be too rigid. To many of my friends, they think I'm rigid. I'm rigid, I don't look for money and so on. I said, that's how God made me. If I get small, it's enough for me.
You are contented with your
Very
salary.
much contented. I'm contented.
So, in closing the program, Dr. Tafida, what's your advice then to the young Nigerian politician, apart from them, going to Ghana experience?
Well, my advice to them, well, they must Ghana experience. If you don't get a position to start practicing to get experience on that position. You must have some experience somewhere, otherwise you will not make it. You just be family. You just behave like a local government chairman in those days and even now. Well, once they get their monthly or quarterly allocation, they just sit on the table and share the thing and disappear. Nothing. So I prefer a young person to learn seriously, to pitch with somebody more experienced. You can even be like a servant, but learn. When you learn, and be easy, be humble. Be humble. When you are humble, you are learning, you can go in. But be determined also to be a true Nigerian who wants to serve Nigerians, your people. It's not a place, you shouldn't go there with the idea of making money.
All right, Dr. Dalhatu Tafida, former Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, a former Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the Fourth Republic, and former Minister of the Federal Republic. Thanks very much for speaking to us on Nigeria 2019.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this edition of Nigeria, the Road to 2019, which has kicked off. Join us again for a fresh edition tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.